Students are constantly being bombarded with targeted advertisements telling us to buy all sorts of stuff. However, there's not much that high school students these days actually need to buy. So in this video, you're about to find out the only 5 things students should spend their money on to make your teenage years impossible to forget. Of course, without the first item on the list, none of the others would be possible and your teenage years would be very boring. When you turn 16 and get your license, there's a moment when you realize the full extent of the freedom you've just been granted. And because I live in a rural area, driving completely revolutionized my social life, and all of a sudden I was able to drive to the city, hang out with my friends whenever I want, and go skiing without waiting for my family. But imagine if this was all taken away because you don't want to spend money on gas, which is the first item on the list. The benefit gas provides so outweighs its cost that people don't even question buying it, even when prices hit upwards of $5 a gallon. And it will allow you to live some epic teenage adventures, like going shopping with the homies. And no, the second item on the list isn't just normal shopping. I'm talking about the legendary set where you're bound to acquire pieces with so much drip that even your mom has got to respect them. I'm talking size 52 faded jeans with built-in boxers. I'm talking about the spot where you drop a mere 25 bucks and come away with a fresh pair of Nikes, 3 t-shirts, and a microwave. So yeah, the second place where it is 100% worth it to spend money as a student is the thrift store. Because what's the point of becoming an academic weapon, getting straight A's, and living it up with your friends if you're not subscribed, covered head to toe in dope finds from the Goodwill? On top of that, thrifting is way cheaper than buying anything new, which is good because after spending a few hours at your local Goodwill, I just know your tummy's gonna be grumbling. But before I tell you to go spend all your college savings on grub, keep in mind that one huge benefit of living with your parents is that they cook for you at zero cost, and you should try to take advantage of that as much as you can before leaving for college. However, sometimes you'll just be craving some of that food court Panda Express, and as a fellow broke, I know how hard it is when all the homies, or even worse your girl, have something to eat, but you don't because your bank account looks like a couple binoculars. So if you have the money, I do recommend eating out from time to time. And I just know from experience that when that post Panda Express clarity kicks in, that you're probably going to be in the mood to stop spending money and finally make some for a change. So this next thing that students should spend their money on actually might make you a millionaire. I know you've heard about compound interest because even I've learned about it in school, but to refresh your memory, it's the graph that looks like this. Now, this graph can signify a lot of things: population increase, people like you who subscribe to my channel, or money in the stock market. Unfortunately, your money in the stock market will only look like this if you let it sit for long enough. And if you open an investment portfolio today, adding as little as 10 bucks a month into it to start, by the time you need the money, you're going to be loaded to the point that a day at the mall spent thrifting, munching, and investing will no longer break the bank. So it's definitely a good idea to dabble in some investing as a teen. However, when you get back home after a hype day at the mall with the homies, you realize that your high school years aren't going to last forever, and that you kind of want to explore the world outside your hometown and go on a real adventure before you get stuck in a 9 to 5, which is why the best thing to spend money on as a student is experiences, because they will benefit every aspect of your life, and you'll be able to look back at your teenage years knowing you lived them to the max. Believe it or not, I'm actually taking my own advice for once and putting down $6 grand to go on a summer study trip in Amsterdam, because I know how rewarding traveling is. Well, really, I'm putting down the whole $800 I have to my name and hoping for a good scholarship and generous GoFundMe donations, link in the description. But it doesn't change the fact that experiences are the #1 way to spend your money in your teens. No, it doesn't have to be abroad, and no, it doesn't have to cost $6,000. Think camping, or going on a road trip with the homies, or going to concerts, sports games, or even subscribing and watching this video next to learn how to make enough money to afford these 5 things.